little bit of reading I have to do here. Well, this is the meeting for the Senior Center Building Committee, the first one, pursuant to the Governor Baker's March 12, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, General Law 30, Section 18, and the Governor's March 15, 2020 order imposing strict limitations on the number of people that may gather in one place. This meeting of the Senior Center Building Committee is being conducted via remote participation. No in-person attendance of members of the public will be permitted, but every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings in real time via technological means. Members of the public who would like to participate in the meeting via Zoom can do so by clicking on the link that's on the agenda. Members of the public who would like to listen to this meeting while in progress may also do so via telephone by dialing 1-646-558-8656 and enter meeting ID 828-3316-6002, then press the pound, and then again press the pound and the next voice prompt during the portion of the hearing designated for public comment. By following these steps previously noted, then press *9 on their telephone keypad or by using the raise hand function on Zoom. This will notify the meeting host that the caller wishes to speak. In the event that, despite our best efforts, we are not able to provide a real-time access, we will post a recorded meeting of this to the website as soon as we are able. Yeah, that was good. I'd like to call this meeting to order. I'll give a quick description for anyone that may be listening. John, I don't know if we have any out there.
We do not right now.
All right. As you guys know, at our past town meeting, we voted to approve $650,000 for a feasibility study and schematic design for a new senior center. The first task in this is to pick an OPM, or Owner's Project Manager, which is under Mass General Law 149. Any public construction that's over 1.5 million requires an OPM. August 5th, 2020, the town advertised a request of qualifications, or an RFQ, that would due by August 27th. Once we pick a successful OPM, they will work with the town, work with this committee on the first phase of the project, which will be the feasibility study and the schematic design. Once these guys are, this firm's identified, we will also bring on an architectural design firm. The feasibility study will identify a new location for the center. And once that's completed, the schematic design will help us develop an idea of construction costs. You guys, I'm going to ask you to do a roll call just so we can know who's on with us, if you don't mind. And we'll start with you, Greg.
Good evening, everybody. Greg Bendel.
Teresa.
Teresa Manganelli.
Diane.
Hang on, Jack.
Diane Allen, Permanent Building Committee.
Terry.
Terry Marciello, Director of Elderly Services.
Paul.
Paul Melorani, Permanent Building Committee.
Mike.
Mike Kachuk.
Hang on one second, Jack, okay?
And Jeff.
Jeff Hull, Town Manager.
I got Jack Holloway on the phone. Let me take his call real quick, see if I can get him into the meeting.
Okay.
Okay. Hey, Jack.
All right. One of the tasks you guys we've all been given is the again, the RFQ for qualification for our OPM. Everybody has had their packet, I'm sure, and got a chance to review all 14 responses. Did we have any questions on the 14? Everybody received those? Go through them all? Okay. What we're looking to do, and we've been tasked with, is to reduce this number down to 3 to 5 firms after you've gone through and qualified each one, and establish a group that we'd like to interview. So what we've asked John O'Neill to do is, once we give these out, he will keep track of them, and we'll put them on a spreadsheet, and we'll identify, we'll see what we get for a number, and which ones are favored and which ones that we're not going to interview. Do I have any questions on that? So we've all had our sheets. We've got a chance to look at them. Since being the chair, John, are you ready to take down these firms?
I am.
Okay. In no particular order, just the way we had them on our sheet. I came out with P3, City Point, CHA, Collier, and Hill International. Greg?
Sure. Do you want me to just briefly say what I was looking for, or you just want to split them out? Spit them out.
I would just spit them out unless there's anything you want to say on any particular one, but.
Well, I don't want to.
So you don't have.
You guys all read them all, so I don't want to bore you with that. But I would just say that I personally was looking for folks had experience building senior centers, municipal buildings, and then I looked at projects of similar cost. There was a lot of fine work done by a lot of these things, but then I
when there's a break, you can introduce yourself.
wanted to see, what maybe would have been in our price and what they did for that. So those were kind of things I looked for. So in no particular order myself, I had Collier International, P3, Hill International, STV DPM, and number 5 was Left Field.
Okay.
Hang on one second. Sorry, Greg. What was the second to last? STV? Which one is that?
The DPM, STV.
Yeah, /DPM.
Okay, that's DPM on my list. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Teresa?
Yes, I thought they were all wonderful with a couple of exceptions, but I did narrow it down to P3, CHA Consulting, City Point Partners, STV/DPM, and Colliers. And I also was looking for, a lot of experience in senior centers. And I think all of these kind of fit that bill.
Yeah, I think out of the 14, we got some really good qualified firms. Almost any one of these we could have picked. Some of them are larger than others, and I would say a lot of their presentations were kind of boilerplate, where they've just pigeonholed information in there. I did like the firms that have gone out there and looked at our facility master plan and looked at the town of Wilmington, so you could tell which ones did that. So it seems we're already following a pattern here, so which is pretty good.
Yeah, I also think that some of the applicants actually discussed, not all of them, but a couple of them discussed the specific needs and unique needs of a senior population and with the growing senior population. And I think that's really important.
Right, I agree. Diane?
Okay, I'm going to kind of echo with what Greg said and Teresa said too. I read them all, and then I kind of put 2 stacks together, one that was worthy and another stack that I wasn't really felt was worthy of further consideration. And then I, took them and reread them. And the ones that I was really looking for were the ones that had municipal experience regarding senior centers. And also I was looking very closely at the project team and their experience, I didn't want someone that moved around a lot or someone that wasn't with the firm a long time. So based on that, my top ranked candidates in order are, I ranked 1 as P3, 2 was Collier's, project leader, 3 was STV/DPM, 4 was Hill International, and 5 was CHA Consulting.
Okay, thank you very much. Terry?
Hi. So pretty much the same way as everyone's speaking, but I also had the opportunity to be able to speak to a couple of people that have been using the companies for senior centers that they built. So in saying that, I did P3, Collier, NV5. I'm so sorry. P3, Collier, STV/DPM, and then CHA and Hills International.
Thank you very much. Very good. Paul?
Boy, I'm going to sound like all of you guys. I've got Colliers. I've got Hill International. I've got P3, STV/DPM, and Architectural Consulting Group.
Okay.
Which one is the, oh, that's ACG? Okay, thank you.
I think that's the first time they've been mentioned. Mike?
I had P3, NV5, because of their experience with the high school, with the town.
Yep.
STV, DPM there.
Yep.
Out of Newton. And what was the last one? Hill International.
Okay.
You still have one more vote.
You don't have to go with the 5.
Okay.
I mean, we were looking 3 to 5. So
Okay.
if you're happy with the ones you had, that's perfectly fine.
Yep.
And
Thank you.
That's it.
thank you. And Jack, can you hear me? I don't. Paul, were you able to connect with him?
He has no camera, so he should be hearing our audio. He might not have a microphone either. Jack, do you have a microphone on your computer?
Can you call him and talk to him through his cell phone?
Yeah, I can do that.
You know, he can always call in. He certainly doesn't have to use the Zoom link video aspect of it.
That's right on your agenda there, Paul, if you want to give him that number.
I can do that.
And I can share the agenda on the screen if you just want to grab it.
You want to call in? The phone number to call in is, hang on one second. 1-646-558-8656. Can you see the screen, Jack? 8656. You see the document on the screen? So the phone number is right below that blue hyperlink. And then you have to enter the meeting ID, which is 828-3316. They'll leave it on the screen. You just call in on those numbers, okay?
Jack, just walk over 2 streets, come to my house.
Yeah, just call in on the phone. They just want to hear your picks, your top 5 picks. Right, see you. Bye.
All right.
We'll get him through this.
Yeah, I'm sure.
He was going to send smoke signals. He's up back lighting a barrel fire right now.
All right. Yeah, we'll see what he comes through. John, I don't know kind of what we've had here for our picks, but once we identify these, Chris is going to reach out to some of these firms and see when they're available for interviews. So once we identify them, I would suggest that if you want to reach out and check with references, talk to different people that you may know about these firms, and do your homework on it. That would be a suggestion. That way, when we do get to the interviews section of it, you can really be able to identify with each firm.
Okay.
Okay. One of the other things that we're going to have to establish is I'm going to have you guys each come up with a couple of questions. I figured two questions. We're going to have you send them in to Chris, and then that way she can compile them. We can see if we have any duplicates, and we can go through. So when we get to our first meeting, we'll be able to go through and have a list of questions that people will be assigned, and then we can start questioning each firm.
Okay, I got the audio on my phone.
There you go. Hey,
We hear you.
Good to hear
Yeah,
you.
I can call in. Okay.
We hear you.
Okay, the first one, of course, is NB5 because they was with the high school. And the whimsical one is left field. It was kind of interesting. And I like what they had. And then the third is answer. And those are my three picks.
Okay. John, were you able to compile those?
I'll share it to the screen right now. Can everyone see this?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yep.
So it looks like the most popular was P3, and then we had a three-way tie with Hill International, Colliers, and and DPM. And then in the fifth runner-up is CHA.
All right. I mean, I think that's pretty clear. Does anybody have any questions on this process that we just did first before we move forward? All right. Hearing none, I would suggest, I mean, do we feel comfortable with 5 firms, or do we want to reduce it down? I mean, this is going to take a couple of nights, I would think, for interviews.
Yeah.
Again, we're going to have to, everybody try to come up with 2 questions. That way there, we're not taking it too long. We would think an interview should be an hour to an hour and a half max, with a break in between. That way we can do 2 or 3 on the first night and then 2 on the second night, depending on how many firms we feel it. Are you guys comfortable with 5, or we want to bring it down?
I think 3, I would be fine with 3.
We just have a tie for second.
There's three firms tied for second place, right?
Right.
So not to split hairs, why don't we take the first place and the 3 second place firms?
Absolutely.
That way there.
Good idea.
It's kind of fair that way.
I was going to go with 4. That way there we can do 2 one night, 2 the next night.
Yeah.
All right. So the first night when we set up our meeting, I think I'm getting some feedback here. I'm not sure.
Sorry, Jack, I'm gonna keep you up. He was joined twice, so it was causing a feedback loop.
Okay. So like I was saying, on our first meeting, we'll have some time, about a half hour beforehand, so we can go through our questions, assign them, and be able to discuss how we're going to set it up. Now we have to establish the interview dates that we're going to do. We're going to have Chris reach out to these firms, and right now we'd like to get them sooner than later. I don't know everybody's availability, so we're looking at October 8th, 14th, and 15th of October also. You don't have to.
George, if I could just jump in there. One of the things that when we talked about this in preparation that I forgot is that next week Chris is out on a well-deserved vacation, so the 8th I think would not be a good date for us. I think we should go with the other dates, the 14th. I believe it was the 14th and 15th we had talked about.
Jeff, I hope you gave her more than just the 8th off.
Also, I have to apologize because I didn't introduce Chris. She's the one that's taking the minutes. Chris down the bottom there. And also, tomorrow is her birthday.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Happy birthday, Chris.
Now we all know.
Nothing like public humiliation.
Great.
Where are you going on vacation?
Well, because of coronavirus, now I'm going nowhere. But
Oh.
it's
On vacation.
going to be a really fun week.
Chris, stay off Glen Road, okay? That's all you need to do.
You don't have to worry about that, Greg. I won't be seeing
All right.
Glen Road until the 13th.
Good.
But the only thing is that that means I also won't be there to reach out to these firms.
Right. So we can have, I'll talk to Wendy about making the calls next, for the dates.
Thank you, Jeff.
That'll give us a little bit of time also, so we can do a little bit of more reference checks, make some phone calls, follow up on these. So.
Perfect. And if you have questions that you can send me, I can put it all together on the 13th and get it out to you before the end of the day. So you'll have them before the 14th.
Now, does the 6 o'clock start time work for everybody?
Yep.
Yes.
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 No.
Yep.
No.
School
No.
committee, right?
So the 14th is also a Board of Appeals meeting at 7 that I have to run.
Oh.
Okay.
Well, can we have Andrew do one and you do another?
I could find out and get back to you.
Okay.
No, actually, Andrew's not available on Wednesday nights.
Wednesdays are tough for me. I'm just going to put it out there. But
Okay.
So the 13th.
So Thursdays work for people?
The 15th is fine with
Yeah.
me.
The 13th?
I'm good.
Okay.
The 13th is a selectmen's meeting.
Can't do that.
Just ask about the
Those are
15th.
overrated.
Is there any objection to pushing into the week of the 19th? We could keep
That's good.
I
the
have no
15th.
objections with that, no.
The 15th is good for everybody right here, right?
So we could do the
Yes.
15th and maybe the 22nd? I mean,
The
Or maybe-
22nd is not good either.
We have
What about-
Keith, right?
What about the 19th, which is a Monday? That's not a selectmen's night. I don't know what else is. I don't think we have anything else from a committee standpoint on Monday nights.
That works.
I have no issue with that.
I don't have any issue with the 19th either.
That's gonna
Do
be,
we want to do them consecutively so we don't forget a lot of the information, or it really doesn't matter?
Well, I
You know,
think there's
just
certainly,
do you want to do the 19th and the 20th, or do you want to do the 15th and the 19th? It doesn't matter to me, either way.
I'm available 19 and 20.
19 and 20 work. Yeah,
I'm available 19 and 20 also.
I can do that
I'm
as
good.
well.
I'm also available.
all right, so,
John,
I'll be available.
we don't have any other,
We have
Zoom
economic
meetings that night?
development committee that night, Jeff.
Oh, do we?
Oh, that's right.
oh, so close.
I'm really screwing.
Yeah. Who invited this guy?
All right. Let's go back to what we had then.
I don't have that.
15 and 19.
15th and 19th?
That's what I have, yeah.
All right. That's what I have. And we're going to be able to do this remotely by Zoom for interviewing, huh?
yeah, I think we should plan on Zoom and we can give, you and I can give some thought as to whether logistically we can do it in the auditorium, but I think that's going to be a bit of a challenge, just given the number of participants that would be there. You know, with the committee, for example, you know, everybody's going to have to be spread out around tables, and I'm not sure we're going to have enough space to have everyone here, plus the consultant who is likely going to have 3 or 4 people, or at least 2 or 3 people.
John, can I ask you a question? So if this firm comes in, I'm sure they're going to have some PowerPoint presentation or something that they're going to want for a presentation. Through you, would they be able to put that up on the screen so we could all see it?
They could either do it through me or share it themselves.
Okay.
That's a possibility.
All right. I just want to make sure we have capabilities.
George, can I ask you a question?
Yes, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I think Terry had her hand up. I'll yield to her.
Sorry, Terry.
Sorry. The only thing I wanted to ask was that if will they be notified? Like, will everybody know, not us, the people that are being interviewed, that it's going to be Zoom, and kind of getting their option as to what's best for them?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
And that'll probably work better for them because they'll be at their office or in their own environment where they're comfortable, so they can have everything set up.
Okay.
So George, I was just going to ask, so you're, in your mind, we'll meet, you're saying about a half hour beforehand, get organized, invite them in, and say like 6:30ish. Are you thinking like a half hour to an hour for each one, or what are you thinking there?
I was thinking an hour for each interview.
Okay.
To go through. That's what we've done previously. And then to give us about 15 minutes, 20 minutes in between, so you can take a break. We can talk amongst ourselves and then let the next firm in.
And then what would be the, going down the line, after the 4 interviews have been completed, would the expectation be of this group to make a recommendation at the after the 4th, or meet again?
We would meet again, I would think, to discuss once we get through it, almost the same way we did it here. We would go through and who we like, which firms, strengths, weaknesses, and then we would put our vote to it and see how it shakes out. And then we'd make a recommendation to the town manager.
So I think it would be helpful if in that last process you rank the firms from 1 to 4, and then I would contact the top-ranked firm and have discussions with them. This is a fee-for-service contract, so we would enter into negotiations for that fee-for-service if, for whatever reason, probably unlikely, but if there was an inability to reach terms on an agreement, then I would go to the next firm.
Correct.
But again, that's probably not likely.
Right. And it does happen, though. It does happen.
Can I just ask another question? Can we just say the 4 firms one more time to make sure that I know that just those 4 finalists?
Go ahead. John, will you read them aloud, please, one more time?
Sure. P3, Hill International, Colliers, and DPM.
Thank you.
And George, I like the idea of separating it by a couple of days. That gives WCTV an opportunity to post this video and people can see it for themselves, the public.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
And that'll be important once we see all 4, and then we could get some feedback if it's possible to schedule a follow-up meeting for us a few days after. That way we could get some feedback from folks.
If I could, George, just a few comments in terms of my thoughts on this, and certainly the committee you'll have your discussions. Some of the things that I was looking at when I looked at the proposals were clearly, to the extent that they had experience with developing senior centers in other communities, and also to what measure they focused on, other proposals focused on the community engagement, because I think one of the elements that's going to be very important in this first phase is helping the town come to some consensus about the location, number one, And then also number two, the elements of the facility in terms of square footage, room layout, and so on. And obviously, this is a very high-profile project, so I think it's important that we have a firm that has some real skill in outreach to the community and getting some feedback on those kind of things.
Oh, yeah, most definitely. We're going to have to need a firm that has public relations people that can get out there and get the word out. You know?
And to Diane's point, not only the firm demonstrating that they've worked in 3 or 4 other communities, but the specific team that they're proposing for Wilmington has actually been engaged in those projects.
Mm-hmm. Good point.
And one of the things that we failed to mention, this firm also, I mean, right after this project, we go through the study, the design, and then it gets brought to the next town meeting. And if it moves forward at that point with approval for the cost, this firm at that point can also, through you, be we can have them as our project manager. That'll work with construction through the final phase.
Right. So the firm that's hired will be contracted just through feasibility and schematic design, but then once the project goes forward to town meeting, if it's approved, then I would have a conversation with them, and certainly it would be based upon their performance to that point. If we're confident and comfortable with them going forward, then we would engage them for the balance of the project.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. George, just one more question for the town manager. And I believe this question was asked at the annual town meeting. So we have a budgeted amount, a ballpark amount that we have budgeted for this. Is that correct, Jeff?
Yes.
And
also, there's the 650 was the appropriated amount, but and I don't have it in front of me, but if I recall, the amount that is estimated for this portion of the OPM services is something in the range of $75,000 to $80,000.
Okay. All right. So when they, whichever one then that, gets picked and everything, I would presume that they, you work this out with them. Is that it, the negotiation on the fee?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Any other questions? Mike, do you have anything? I know you're kind of new to this, so.
Yeah, just basically taking it all in, and when the 2 questions come up, I'll have some ideas.
Okay. All right.
Even about the site locations and.
Absolutely. Yeah, there'll be a lot to it once we get really involved.
So George, can I ask you what the deadline is for us to submit the questions to Chris or her office?
Well, of course, we'd like to get them in because we want to vet them, make sure that we, duplicates, and if there are too many similar questions, we might want to reach back out and talk to a few others to get a few more questions out there. So if our first meeting is on the 15th, I'd like to get them in before next Friday, the 9th, if you could, think of it. So that's I think reasonable to come up with a couple of questions. That'll give you some time if you want to reach out and make a few phone calls. Everybody has their booklets so they can start checking the references on those firms and come up with some questions.
So to that point, George, it might be advisable if there's some kind of dividing up the firms to be consulted, so the references rather to be consulted, so the one community doesn't have 3 or 4 different people from the town calling on the same same firm.
Well, conveniently, we have 8 members. We can kind of split these up. I'll take a couple. I will do P3 and Hill.
Okay.
Diane?
Yeah, I'll do Colliers and DPM. No
Okay.
problem.
I'll do P3 and Colliers.
George, I'm always happy to join Diane, so I'll go with those two as well.
Okay.
And I'll do the same as Teresa.
P3. Okay.
I'll do DPM and Colliers. That makes sense.
You might want to take Hill.
Okay. I was waiting for a little direction there. Okay.
Okay.
You know what? At the same time, each of them have done a senior center, and I was also starting to reach out to the directors that are working directly with the OPMs.
Yep.
So I could make those calls also to kind of feel a little bit as to
I think that's a great idea.
how their relationship is.
One of the things
Jeff,
that
Jeff, I was going to say, could I work with you and maybe we could reach out to some of the town administrators that have worked with these folks and maybe get their 2 cents on it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. One of the things I was going to mention, and I imagine you picked up on this as well, but there were, I think, at least 3 firms that I recall in these proposals who indicated that they had served in, I guess, in an OPM capacity or some capacity with the city of Westfield, which I thought was curious. I don't know if all the firms that made the final cut here are communities that are citing Westfield, but it would be interesting to find out exactly, whether perhaps one of the firms was the OPM and another firm was the architect, or be interesting to find out what the circumstances were with where multiple firms identified Westfield.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Or they moved around a lot.
Yeah.
Some people moved around a lot. Right.
A lot of projects.
Good point. Yeah, good point.
Just for clarification with regard to the references, what do you want? Just a summary of who we talked to, a couple of sentences, or?
Yeah, of course. You'd reach out to them, see what the big question, would you hire them again? See what their experiences were, their record keeping, their management skills, how well they worked with others, the type of information, how they get the word out, so.
And, things like how were they able to manage change orders, because obviously those get very costly to the extent that there are too many of those, and to the extent that they were involved in a feasibility piece, how were they able to manage that process with community input?
Okay. That's helpful. Thank you.
Okay.
The other thing I would just ask is that just in terms of the record, so to speak, so we have obviously a file now started on this project. So to the extent that you can provide your qualification forms to the office, perhaps next week, we'll have those put on file. So in the event that at some later point there's questions about the process we went through, we just have it all documented. That would be helpful.
Very good.
Yeah.
All right. Any other questions, comments? One thing I'd also entertain too, just in case I'm unable to make a meeting, I think we should have a vice chair or somebody that would be willing to step in. I would take any nomination for.
Nominate Diane Allen.
Well, George, just to be, I don't want to certainly disrupt the process here, but where we didn't post, the committee to consider a vice chair, I would suggest that at the next meeting, perhaps in addition to discussion about the questions, it's only going to take a couple minutes. We just post as a agenda item the appointment of a vice chair.
Okay.
I'll withdraw my nomination without prejudice.
No pressure, George. We have to show up to the next meeting.
Yeah, there you go. I guess I have to be there. Damn.
Nice try, though.
Yeah, that was good. That was good. All right. Do we have any public comment?
We do not.
Nobody out there, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Is there before we take a motion to adjourn, do we have any other questions?
Just, George, just to clarify, the 2 questions we're going to send to Christine, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. Just verifying that.
Right. We'll do a quick review of them. Like I said, if there's too many duplicates, we might reach back out and say, we already have that one question several times. Could you come up with another? That gives us a little bit of time.
George, as I'm thinking about it, because I don't want to put too much pressure on Christine just coming off of vacation, maybe the best thing to do would be if the questions can be directed to Wendy in our office, and that way she'll have a couple of days to pull them all together. And because Chris will be back on the 13th, that's kind of a limited window there, so it'll just give us a little more time to get them together and then get them back out to people. So it's just W. Martinello at wilmingtonma.gov. I can send out her email to everybody.
Right. I was going to say, why don't we just send out her email?
Okay.
Okay. Well, Greg, it looks like you're going to be able to make the debate. So
7 o'clock start. Biggest debate of the week, I heard.
Well, I don't know about that.
Hopefully the most professional.
Yeah.
Well, they set the bar pretty low Monday night, so Tuesday.
Okay. All right. Well, if we have nothing else, then I'll entertain a motion.
I make a
Motion to adjourn.
I'll second that.
Second. All right. So moved. All right. Well, good night, everybody. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Good night.
Have a good night, everyone.
Thank you. Great.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, gang.
Thank you.
Take care.
Good
Happy
night.
birthday, Chris.
Oh, yes. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday. Happy vacation.
Happy Chris. Sorry, Chris.
Okay, George. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Guys.
Thank you, John.